Hello, this is Boxing with the Truth, and I am the truth. And this is another segment of Who is Who in Boxing. This week we have Grand Friday Night Fights. Grand Casino, Hinkley, Minnesota, March 28th. Let's start the card off with the breakdown of Andre Tieva. 0-1, but his first boxing debut was a very good one. He fought Marcus Morris and it was a tough fight. He came out right away, had no hesitation, came right after Marcus, and the entire 4 rounds was a slugfest. He's a very good MMA fighter, and you can see his boxing skills are going to get better the more he fights. The guy's in very good shape. He's a hard hitter. He comes forward. He's willing to sit in the middle of the ring and exchange. He's a smart fighter. He throws a good jab, and he has a nice overhand right if he can get it to land. Really good head movement as well, and he can take a punch. The only thing I don't like about him is, and nothing against him, he still has the MMA defense. And when I talk about the MMA defense, I mean he still carries his hands too low near his chest and doesn't keep them up like earmuffs around his head for a boxing style defense. So he's going to have to work on that. This is his only second pro fight. Otherwise he's going to be taking a lot of jabs and a lot of hooks from more experienced fighters. So let's move on. He's fighting Guy Smith Jr., who is 1-0. And honestly, I tried to find out stuff on this guy, and I just couldn't find out anything except for the fact that he's from Nebraska, Omaha. So I don't know if he's a country boy. I don't know if he's tough. Like I said, I don't know anything. So basically, Guy, just based off of what I know of your opponent, you're just going to have to come with some pressure, keep moving forward, keep the jab in his face. That's kind of like what Marcus did. He's open for the overhand right. Because of his MMA defense, you're going to have to bully him on the ropes and then mix it up with body and head. And hopefully that should be enough to beat him in points and possibly knock him out. But like I said, he can't take a punch. So that's the first fight of the night. Let's move to the second fight. Delorean Caraway. First of all, though, the last fight, I'm not sure what the weights were on that, but I know this fight is a light welterweight fight with Delorean Caraway and Damien Hill. So Delorean Caraway is 1-0. He won his first debut fight in like 46 seconds. It was so fast. I mean, nobody even had a chance, to sit down actually. But I think this fight's gonna last a little longer, because Damien Hill does have the experience on him, and I have seen Damien Hill fight, and he can move around a little bit. But Delorean Caraway, he's like a storm. He just comes at you, throwing bunches of punches. He's just a headhunter. You got to have good head movement. You got to be able to have good feet to avoid him. Otherwise, he's just going to take you out like his first opponent got taken out. He's just a force to be reckoned with. He's just fast. He has good power. He cuts off the ring well. The one thing I don't like about his style is if you can weather the storm, maybe in the first or second round, he does hang his left hand down low by his hip, which to me gives him a weak defense. And as he moves up in talent, he's going to need both of his hands to defend punches from better fighters. So that's just a criticism on my part, that I think Delorean's going to have to start picking that hand up when he's fighting better fighters. Right now, I guess he can get away with it if he's coming after people and he's just knocking them out. But we'll see if Damien lets him get away with that. Let's move to Damien Hill, who's 3-4. He's a boxer, MMA fighter, and he's a southpaw. So I don't know how many fighters Delorean Caraway fought as an amateur that were southpaws, so we'll see if that gives him some problems as well. Damien's pretty well-rounded fighter, more of a counter puncher. Doesn't start out real fast, lets people come to him, but he will stand and fight. He moves around well, throws punches from different angles, which possibly, like I said, if he can weather the storm, he might be able to confuse Caraway a little bit. I would like to see him get a little bit more aggressive. He did start getting more aggressive in his last fight that I saw him in, so maybe he'll pick that up in every fight. He is going to have to fight very smart in this fight. Like I said, he's got to weather the storm. He's going to have to use a lot of defense probably in the first round, possibly in the second round, and kind of pick his shots carefully because Caraway is going to try to take him out quick. It's going to come down to just moving around, using the ring, popping the jab, maybe possibly using the jab, 1 or 2 jabs while he's moving back away from Caraway, and then just stopping dead, and hopefully that Caraway, his movement will carry him right into a power punch. You know, Damien's going to have to mix it up and try some new things against Caraway because he's never fought a guy, I don't think, this fast or somebody that's going to come at him so aggressively. But it should be for an interesting fight. So let's move to the next fight. Jonathan Perez. And I believe these guys are fighting at bantamweight. But, so there's going to be a lot of action in this fight. Jonathan Perez is 6-0. This could be the biggest test of his career. He's never fought anyone with this much experience. He's fighting James Owens, who's actually like 5-16, I believe. But don't be fooled by the record, because James Owens has stepped up and fought a lot of guys that are a lot better competition than Perez has fought. So Perez is going to have to just come out there from the door and set the pace. He doesn't waste a lot of punches. He has a stiff jab. He's a smart fighter. He doesn't throw one punch at a time. He does throw a lot of combinations. He's a very fast fighter. He has nice clean body shots. But the one thing I didn't like about him is occasionally he does throw some wild hooks, which might give James Owens a chance. And also sometimes his right hand is low. So James Owens is going to have to use his experience, and he's going to have to spot that. And that might be the one weakness that he can pull out of Jonathan Perez. So let's move to James Owens. Okay, he's a slow starter. He's a counter puncher. He doesn't have a lot of power, but he can take a punch. He will mix it up in the center of the ring with you. And like I said, he does have the experience. He has fought the better competition. Just to name a few guys, he has fought Rancis Bartholomew. He has fought Wilton Hilario. He has fought Ismael Mwendo. He has fought Dustin Mason. That's just a few names you might recognize. So the guy isn't afraid to fight anybody, and he does have heart. Sometimes heart can win a fight. Like I said, if you can catch Jonathan Perez off guard with some stuff, if you can catch him dropping his right hand, if he can get a little aggressive in this fight, it would definitely pay off. I just haven't seen it. Like I said, he's a slow starter, and I think in this fight, he's going to have to start fast in order to be able to compete in this fight. Because experience is not going to win this fight in the end. He's going to have to just outwit Jonathan Perez and just outbox him, plain and simple. Alright, next fight. Middleweights. Robert Brandt, 9-0. If you're a Minnesota boxing fan, you know who Robert Brandt is. This guy is a sharp fighter. He's very crafty. Throws a lot of different combinations. Good footwork. Gets a little cocky at times, but you know, some fighters that got these skills, they're gonna get cocky, especially when they're 9-0. He's still a good guy. I like him personally. I know him a little bit outside the ring, and in the end, he gets the job done. Like I said, he's a very smart fighter. He's got a nice jab. He's very aggressive, and he'll bring the fight to you. He'll come at you. He has no problem from the first bell to the last bell coming after you and trying to impress you and the fans. He is fighting Dimitris Walker, who is 7-3-1. Now, Dimitris, I give you credit. I've done research on you. You do a lot of stuff for the community. That's great. I don't know how much that's going to help you in this fight because I don't know if Robert Brandt really cares how much you do for the community. Dimitris Walker is a southpaw. I don't know how many southpaws Robert Brandt has actually fought, or if this guy's going to give him any trouble. I guess we'll find out. Demitris Walker does have a tight defense when he's in the corners on the ropes, and that might help him against Robert Brandt. And he does have a nice left hook if he can catch Robert Brandt with it, and it does have power behind it. So it would be nice if he could catch Robert Brandt sleeping and possibly knock Robert Brandt down. Will he stay down? I doubt it. He is fast. He does have a stiff jab when he decides to use it. He does not use it all the time. Sometimes he gets into exchanges and he forgets about it. And he has a tendency to throw some wild hooks. Sometimes holds his hands low a little bit. It fluctuates from round to round. He is mainly a counter puncher. And his foot movement, I really don't understand it. I watched a lot of tape on him. And I'm just going to call it a bunny hop. Because he doesn't just move back. He bounces back. Almost like he's hopping like a bunny. Which, if Robert Brandt hits him in a mid-hop, Demitris Walker has no balance when you're in the air. So he's going to knock him down even if the punch isn't hard. And, you know, that's just going to look good for Robert Brandt. So, Dimitris, try to stop the bunny hop. Keep your feet planted on the ground. You're going to have good movement against Robert Brandt. You're going to have to pick your shots well. So, I'm just telling you from the door, forget the bunny hop. Because the bunny hop is not going to work. But this should not be another interesting fight. Because they both come to fight. They will both stand in the middle of the ring. So, there is going to be a lot of action in this fight. Alright, let's move on to heavyweights. Aaron Gorilla Green, 14-0, 12 knockouts. The man has power. The funny thing is he's fighting Byron Poley, who's 25, 16, and 1, and they call him the Bear. So yes, this is going to be a fight on the Nature Channel. It's the Gorilla versus the Bear. Who will win the title of Wild Kingdom? You know, Byron Poley has the experience. He's fought the better fighters. But Aaron Green, he's a gentle giant. He walks his opponents down very quietly for a heavyweight guy. He doesn't waste punches, which is good because then he doesn't waste energy. He's a smart fighter. He has lots of power in both hands. And he knows how to finish strong when he sees his opponent is hurt. So he is an exciting heavyweight to watch. Byron Poley, he is the more experienced fighter, like I said, but he has to figure out how to use it in this fight. He's got to be crafty because really he only seems to have a jab, and that's not going to keep Aaron Gorilla Green off of him with the jab. He's going to have to come with some body punches. He's going to have to come with a power punch, overhand right, something. Otherwise, he's going to be in trouble fast. This is going to be a short fight if he doesn't come with more than just the jab. He does put his head down quite a bit, and he keeps his hands low, which are going to be, that's going to go into Aaron Green's favor for sure, both things. And he just doesn't seem to be able to take a power punch anymore. I don't know if it's that he's just had so many fights over the years or up in age, but so that's the other thing. He's going to have to move around because if he stands in the middle and tries to mix with Aaron, like I said, it's going to be a short fight, 1-2 rounds at the most. So, Byron, pick your shots, move around. You don't have the speed, and just bring something behind the jab. So, hopefully, this will be an interesting fight. I personally don't see it going, the full 8 rounds, but who knows? I've been wrong before. All right, let's move on to the co-main event. Andy Chaos Coley. Now, if you are a Minnesota boxing fan or just a boxing fan in general, you have probably heard this name before. You might have not heard it in the last year because he's been sitting home on the couch watching boxing. He hasn't been in the ring. But Chaos is back, folks. 25-4. And let me tell you something. Those 4 losses he's got are nothing to sneeze at. 2 guys that are known worldwide. Paul Williams, Andre Ward, 2 Minnesota guys that are probably 2 of the best in the state right now, Caleb Truax and Cericio Fort. So Andy Coley is no joke, folks. He is a southpaw, which makes him for a tricky fighter. He can take a punch. You know, and like I said, he's been out a year, so there could be a little ring rust coming into this fight, but we'll see in the first or second round if he can shake it off. He pops the jab really well. He has a nice overhand right. Because he is a southpaw, you know, he throws a left hook really nice. He walks his opponents down. He doesn't run. He doesn't dance. He is, by definition, a fighter. There's nothing glamorous or fancy about Andy Coley. He's a fighter. He will mix it up with you on the ropes or the center of the ring. He has the heart of a fighter. You know, like I said about the 4 losses. I mean, you know, he was in all 4 of those fights. You know, maybe except for the Paul Williams fight. But he's a hunter. And he is going to make a statement this Friday night. I'm excited that his team put this fight together. They could have given him a lot easier fight to bring him back after a year. And they didn't. And personally, I think that's because Andy wouldn't have wanted an easy fight. Because he's just the type of guy that doesn't want an easy fight. He's willing to fight anybody. So I'm excited to see him back in the ring after a year. I think a lot of Minnesota fans will. I think a lot of boxing fans in general will be. So I'm excited to see this. He's fighting Ryan Davis, whose nickname is Dangerous. So you got Chaos against Dangerous. I mean, how more exciting can this fight get? This guy's 24-12-3. And he actually has fought Zab Judah. Now, if you're a boxing fan, you know who Zab Judah is. And Zab Judah was a southpaw. So Ryan Davis has experience fighting southpaws. So he shouldn't have any problem with Andy Coley as a southpaw. The funny thing is they actually have similar styles. You know, there's nothing flashy or glamorous about this guy either. He just comes to fight. He comes forward. He's just a solid fighter. He can throw punches from any angle. He has nice hooks. He has nice uppercuts. He puts combinations together nice. That's why I said this is going to be an interesting fight. This is like 2 guys looking in the mirror, and I think they're going to stand in the middle of the ring, and I think they're just going to see who's the better guy at the end of the day. So I'm really excited to see this fight, and I hope the fans are well. And, you know, hats off to Andy Coley's team for matching this fight up, because like I said, you guys could have just basically threw a bum in there to, you know, get the ring rust off and to get him back in the ring, and I'm glad you guys did. Let's go to the main event. Jamal James, 12-0. He was originally supposed to fight RJ Lass. He was going to defend his Minnesota title against him. RJ got his hand hurt. The fight got called off. They could have just threw an easy replacement in there for this fight. And hats off to Jamal James's camp as well, because they didn't. The last fight, I forgot, Andy Coley against Ryan Davis. That is a middleweight fight. This Jamal James against Angel Hernandez, who is actually 16-14-1. This is a welterweight fight. Angel Hernandez is not a bum by any means. So to get a replacement fighter of this guy's caliber, this guy could have been a main event anyways without being a replacement fighter. He just fought Johnny Garcia, who actually I believe was 17-1, and he fought him hard and you know, actually gave him stitches. So I mean, this guy doesn't come to be anybody's stepping stone. He's a polished fighter, and you know, he's coming to fight. But Jamal James, you know, he's got a beautiful jab. I love watching this guy's jab. He's a sharp fighter. He's a smart fighter. He knows how to cut off the ring. He can throw punches from any angles. He's fast. But I still think he gets into too many exchanges that are unnecessary when he doesn't have to. He has good footwork, and he's exciting to watch. But I think sometimes just as a fighter, he just wants to, you know, get into the mix in the middle of the ring when it's unnecessary. But it does make for an exciting fight. I just don't think he has to take some of the punches that he does take. So this will be his biggest test yet, Angel Hernandez. And I think it's going to be a solid fight. Angel Hernandez, even though he has 14 losses, he has 16 wins. And 16 of those wins are by 13 knockouts. So he does have power. So Jamal James is going to have to use the jab to keep him off him. Because if he just sits there and lets him tee off on him, he could possibly get knocked out. And he does not want to lose a main event, you know, in his own state. So Angel, has the overall experience. He has fought the overall better competition. He is a slick fighter, has fast hands, will stand and fight. Like I said, he's fought some bigger names. Courtney Burton, Derek Gainer. He's coming to win this main event. He's coming to steal the undefeated record of Jamal's. He isn't trying to be a stepping stone, like I said, or anybody's just an extra fight on a record. He made Johnny Garcia earn his win, and he's coming to make Jamal earn his win as well. All these fights are exciting. There's some good fighters in these fights. There's a lot of power and action going to be in these fights. So March 28th, Friday, Grand Casino, Hinkley, Minnesota. Be there. The truth has spoken.